All right, it's our final segment this morning with Thomas Schwartz, our political science professor from over at Vanderbilt. Good to have him on. I'm guessing this, once school gets back in session, is going to be maybe something you guys look at in some of your classes. You know, come on. Yeah. There's always something talking about, and whatever else about it, and it's very serious stuff. It's pretty dang interesting.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Yeah, the
stuff.
History. There's a lot going on now that sort of can be seen in retrospect, and that there's a historical perspective on.
Yeah, we were talking during one of the breaks about writings and books about this presidency and others down the road, and it's not going to happen right away. You have to give time for historians like yourself to look back, to write something. But you see things now that are going to be entire chapters or entire books unto themselves.
Yeah, the challenge will be, of course, how do you document some of this? As you were saying, there was a one-on-one meeting between Putin and Trump. How will you document what actually went on in that?
Yeah, unless
you have to hope that there are notes.
Yeah, notes or who knows. Yeah. Let's go to Linda. Hi, Linda.
Oh, hi. How are you all this morning?
Good. What's on your mind?
Well, I think the major problem in this country is probably the same as it always is, but I'm just going to term it and coin it as ignorance, because I was listening to the caller earlier, I guess his name is Jimmy, and when I listened to him, I heard the problem, and the problem is that the Trump and company and the conservative, right-wing conservatives have advanced this false narrative that we're all crooks, we're all, guilty. And that is why he's in the White House, because that's a fake narrative. For example, they advanced this idea that using private servers was a problem. Those things have been done throughout various administrations by various politicians. But when you take something that is done in the normal course of business or anything and make it seem criminal, then you confuse the public, because they don't have enough knowledge or inclination to really figure out what's right and what's wrong, to the point where you don't have right and wrong anymore. And there is a right and there is a wrong, and there are those who are corrupt, and there are those who are not corrupt. There are those who are doing the right thing and trying to make this country better, and there are those who want to pull the country back into a slavery mode, so that you have the hierarchy, which will be the white supremacists, and the lower hierarchy, which would be the minority. And people need to get out their heads out of there. Start facing the reality. So I'll hang up and listen.
Well, thank you. I guess one way to do that is to get out and vote. Big deal there. Just, when you say get your head out of your you-know-what, I mean, I'm trying to think, what percentage of the population voted in the last presidential election? Do we know, kind of like, was it, what percent of eligible voters?
Of eligible voters?
Of eligible voters. I forget. Maybe we can double check on what that tally is.
I think it was 58 or 59%.
Something like, and presidential elections are always much higher. But get out and vote, and, whoever it is you happen to support. I see groups. 58%. You're close. Yeah, 58's what Rick tells me. I understand there is the national NAACP meeting is happening, I think, right now. Maybe it's down in New Orleans. And one of their themes, among obviously African Americans, is to get out and vote, which they didn't vote in as great numbers this last election as they did with President Obama, did they? Right. And so I don't know, if you support the president, you get out and vote. If you don't, get out and vote. But if you don't vote, it's hard for you to have a say in anything, simply because.
That's right.
I mean, I don't know. Do you think the turnout's going to be much in this next two? I mean,
I think it'll be down in the midterms, but it's still. I think this is going to be the key: is whether the Democrats can maintain the enthusiasm that they have, and if they can, they could score major gains.
Okay. Rick was just telling me in 2008 it was 62%.
Oh.
And that's actually pretty darn good.
For the United States, that's excellent.
That's excellent. And 58% in the last election. And what's interesting is you see all this momentum gathering, one way or the other in different candidates. And I know it's just the 2-year election, but you start wondering, as the presidential election nears, we're 2 more years from that, will there be any challengers within the Republican Party to maybe try to go after Trump, perhaps? And then who among the Democrats? I keep hearing some of the tried and true old names of. I saw something the other day that Hillary is still in the mix somehow, which I don't think so. And then Joe Biden, maybe. Right. I mean, those are names that I just can't see. I just cannot see. But so you wonder, there've got to be some out there where the names, we don't know who they are yet, right?
That's I think, right. I think you'll see right after the midterms, you're going to see there's a huge number of Democrats who are testing the waters.
Yeah, when will they really start kicking it? I wonder, when does that happen? After the midterms?
Well, they'll do campaigning. They're going to be campaigning for candidates in the fall as a way of sort of gathering IOUs and showing their own support if candidates who are backing them win. And then right after the November, the campaign will start. I mean, you'll see people declaring for the presidency in January.
Okay, is that right? Because so there clearly have been, probably for a couple of years now, Democrats who have been planning for this time coming, but they've kind of kept a low profile. Why is it that they just wait until 2 years out? Is that just
you're testing the waters? You're sort of seeing. I mean, a lot of it is money. A lot of it is finding out if you can get the type of resources that would allow you to run a campaign. Okay. And so that some of this involves sort of going out, speaking, creating a network of supporters and all of that. So that's what's going on now. Elizabeth Warren, for example, is doing a lot of speaking. Bernie Sanders is also campaigning for his people. Joe Biden is out. So.
All right, and on the Republican side then, and there was some folks thinking, well, the president at one point is going to say, he doesn't want to run again. That's baloney. I think Donald Trump has already said he's running. I think he says I think I saw an interview with the president where they were asking him about, compared to his life before to his life now, kind of saying, it's a lot of headache, isn't it, President? And he's like, you know what? I had a great life before, but I really like this. And he said that, and I respect him for being straight up. He really likes it. He's going to run. What are the prospects, though? And what would it take for someone within maybe more of the Republican establishment to try to challenge him for the nomination?
Well, I think there's likely to be a challenger from the establishment. It's just that I think Trump has really remade and dominated the Republican Party so much so that I don't think a challenger from the establishment will get very far.
Okay, yeah, probably not. And you're right. He's made it very clear he will run.
He enjoys, at least the recent polls show, he is enjoying up 80% support among Republicans. That's a pretty strong number, at least. I think it was 80%. Yeah.
Well, and aside from some of the turmoil over all of this, and you see what's happening with the tariffs, I mean, at this point, and Americans in general, oftentimes, all other issues aside, and there are ones that play a role, don't they also vote their pocketbook first and foremost?
That still is going to be important.
The tried and true question, do you believe you're better off now than you were 4 years ago? And I think some Americans now would say yes, and I think some would clearly say no. But, I mean, the economy right now, at least employment and the like, seems to be doing all right.
Well, no, they may actually hit a 4% growth rate.
Yeah, which is big. And I wonder, and it's interesting that that's happening in the the realm of these tariffs, which you thought were going to hit hard, and you've heard it's already damaging some farmers here in Tennessee, but it doesn't seem like it's really dragging down the economy, at least at this point.
No, not yet. And I think that's one of the reasons why he's able to do this.
Yeah. Let's take a quick call from Don. Don, go ahead, real quick, my friend.
Well, I want to ask you the guest that you got here today.
Yeah.
What is a human body made of?
Well, it's water, right?
No.
What's it made of?
It's made of a bunch of, it's made of sugar and all that stuff. It's from the Bible.
Okay, and your point?
All this stuff is going on today. People need to get God back in their lives.
Oh, okay, all right, well, fair enough. I mean, now, I was right, though. We're mostly water, okay? That's all I'm going to say. We're mostly water, but getting God and religion back into things, it's interesting now. Did you see in the state of Tennessee, law just passed where In God We Trust is going to have to be posted in all public schools. Now, in God we trust, and I mean, it's mandated for that now. It'll be up front. Religion, there's going to be so many issues that come up in these elections, but it'll be interesting to see in the 2-year mark. You think if the Democrats or Republicans have a chance of losing something, it's more likely the House than the Senate?
Yes, very much so. The Senate still favors the Republicans strongly.
Okay.
So that would be a huge thing if the Democrats got the Senate, but the House is very much up in play.
Yeah, okay. So still, though, in the state of Tennessee, the governor's race, I mean, this is a Republican state. If there's one race where maybe a Democrat might be able to show some punch, would be in the Senate race.
Phil Bredesen is probably one of the best candidates they could have ever found. Yeah,
but the governor's race, boy, that's a battle between all of the Republicans running. Boy, they're going after each other. Right. They go after each other. And we've talked about this before. You believe negative campaigning works?
I do, I'm afraid. Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons people do it. So.
Yeah, I mean, do you think they do? It does just because the public eats that up, or?
No, because within a fairly narrow range of differences on issues, the thing that really stands out to people is something more negative. Since most of the Republicans agree on everything, the only way you could really motivate supporters is usually by pointing out something wrong with one of the other ones.
Gotcha. Professor, as always, a pleasure.
Thank you.
Listen, have a good time over at Vanderbilt today.
Thank you.
I'm preparing for the incoming classes, all right?
Okay.
We'll take a break. I'll be back with a programming note right after this. Stay with us. Thank you, my friend.